what is going on, y'all? Vera up here. Today, what we got going on, I'll be breaking down my season preview for the 2019-2020 NBA season for the New Orleans Pelicans. Obviously, the New Orleans Pelicans have been one of the most talked about teams this offseason with so many trades, so many draft selections, the lottery going their way. So we're going to break it all down and give y'all my prediction and my expectations of the 2019-2020 New Orleans Pelicans. So to start things off, we're going to take a look back at the 2018-2019 NBA season for the New Orleans Pelicans. Obviously, this year was all centered around Anthony Davis and the trade rumors involving him with the Lakers, the Knicks, the Celtics, all the above. But last year, they finished with the record of 33-49, and it is important to remember they sat out Anthony Davis for the entire month of March, the entire end of the season in April. So they did not have Anthony Davis for about 25 games last season. Obviously, they still had Drew Holiday, they still had Etuan Moore, they still had Julius Randle, but that team right there just was not good enough for really to do anything in the Western Conference, and they finished 13th last season in the West. Looking at the Pelicans offseason, I'm going to take y'all back to the draft lottery night for game one of the Western Conference Finals. So before we hop into the offseason, I'm going to take y'all back to draft lottery night for the NBA in mid-March. And you guys know what happened.
And that means that the number one pick in the 2019 NBA draft goes to the New Orleans Pelicans.
Honestly, right there, you guys have to remember the Pelicans had one of the lowest odds, like one of the lowest 3 odds to get to get the number one pick. So the fact that they got the number one pick over the Knicks, the Grizzlies, the Lakers, all those other teams that were mixed into that bunch, the Phoenix Suns, it is so, I wouldn't say lucky, but it is such a miracle that they got the number one pick, and obviously this led to them drafting Zion Williamson. Starting off with the Pelicans in the offseason, we have to start off first with the Anthony Davis trade. We obviously know there were rumors about this for about 4 months prior to the actual trade that went down June 27th, I think it was. But the trade was Anthony Davis was shipped to LA, and then in return they got Lonzo Ball, Josh Hart, Brandon Ingram, 3 or 4 future first-round picks plus a second-round pick. There are so many, people on both sides saying, "Oh, the Lakers won it. Oh, the Pelicans won it." But in my opinion, I think it was a very even trade. Especially it fit what the Lakers needed right now in a must-win situation with LeBron, and it really fit the Pelicans standpoint in which they're trying to build for the future around Zion Williamson. Then we goes towards the NBA draft, and the Pelicans ended up with Zion Williamson and Jackson Hayes, big man from Texas. And before I move on, I have really never shared that much of my opinions on Zion Williamson, so we're going to take a short break talking about the Pelicans and just give you guys my opinion on Zion Williamson. So obviously, Zion, we know what he did last year in Duke, gave you 23, 9, and 2, 68% from the field, 34% from 3, 64% from the free throw line. Fam, I am not that big of a college basketball fan, but Zion was one of the few players that has ever really made me want to watch college basketball, like for an entire season. I'm not saying I was a Duke fan or I am a Duke fan, but you wanted to watch them. Like, you just wanted to see what they could do that night, whether they played UNC, whether they played Virginia, whether they played a smaller school. You wanted to see what Zion and RJ Barrett and that entire squad could do to any team. It was absolutely amazing, and in my opinion, Zion has the potential to be an all-time great. I feel almost every single number one pick, though, has that potential. It just, what is really important is what do they do once they get into the league. Zion, to me, looks like a really hard worker. I do worry about his weight. There's been so many rumors that he's around 285, maybe closer to 300. It worked for him in high school and college, and he was one of the most dominant forces that we have seen at 6'6". Can that work in the NBA? What position is he going to play? Is he going to play small forward, power forward? Can he go center for a small ball lineup? I am not exactly sure. We have never seen someone that built. 6'6", 285. It's James Harden's height, y'all. And then you add like a LeBron James type body to it. LeBron James type weight plus an extra 25 pounds. That is just unprecedented. So I think he has a lot of potential. He's actually my favorite for Rookie of the Year this year, which I'll be giving you guys my NBA 2020 awards prediction video in a little bit. But that's my opinion on Zion, yo. I expect a lot of great things from him. I think his rookie year is going to be pretty interesting to watch, but I'll talk about that later in the video. But as of Zion right now, I respect the dude. I think it's really nice that he signed with Jordan Brand. He definitely deserves his own shoe. What he did at, I forget the Spartan something. What he did in high school, what he did in college is absolutely special, and he has the potential to be an all-time great, yo. I mean, that's just my honest opinion. Now, what was said about Zion is that he only got a chance to play a half of Summer League basketball, where he got injured in the first game against his good buddy RJ Barrett on the New York Knicks. So that was kind of sad, but going into free agency, the Pelicans also got a chance to sign JJ Redick and Derek Favors. Derek Favors last year gave you 12 and 7 as a big man, 6'10", power forward / center. Then we obviously know JJ Redick, one of the best spot-up shooters in the NBA today. I mean, as a whole, I would give their offseason grade as an A. I think they were in a position where they couldn't do anything with Anthony Davis, so they had to find the next best route. They got a very solid trade for him. They put him in a position where he wanted to go. They also got really lucky on the draft lottery, got Zion Williamson, the potential to be an all-time great player. They got Jackson Hayes. They got JJ Redick. Overall, got to get their offseason grade as an A. Now it's time to hop into my opinion, the 2020 Pelicans starting lineup / roster. Obviously, things can change from here in opening night, but I would start with the backcourt, Lonzo Ball and Drew Holiday. We obviously saw Lonzo Ball, one of the best defending guards in basketball, and we saw Drew Holiday can give you 20-plus points a night. I think that tandem together would work really well. In the front court, then you would have Brandon Ingram, a very lengthy forward that can score the basketball and had a really good stretch of games with the Lakers. And towards the end of February, we averaged 27 a game throughout a 6-game span. Zion Williamson, obviously, and then Derek Favors starting at the center position. We saw Derek Favors last year only average 7 rebounds a night. I do worry about that, but I do feel in the situation that he'd be in real high-paced offense with a lot of fast break points. He could work well with them, especially in the pick-and-roll situation with Lonzo Ball. Looking at their bench, they obviously have Josh Hart and JJ Redick coming off from the backcourt on the bench side of things. I think Josh Hart can give you good minutes, can score the basketball, is very athletic, is not afraid to get his body hurt a little bit, is really good at driving to the paint, especially on a fast break. JJ Redick, one of the best three-point shooters in the league that we have seen. Etuan Moore coming in, and we obviously saw Etuan Moore as a very solid defender for his size, also a very solid shooter, one of the best spot-up shooters in the league. Darius Miller and Jahlil Okafor filling up the 9 and 10 spots on the roster, and it is interesting. I want to see Jahlil Okafor get a lot of minutes this year. I feel like his opportunity hasn't been given too much to him since he's gone into the NBA for obvious reasons, whether it was injury, locker room issues, chemistry problems, all the above. But I think he can make a difference for the team. Also, Frank Jackson and Jackson Hayes obviously are expected to get minutes, so I expect this team to run probably about 12-man deep in a 12-man rotation for a majority of the year. What to watch this season for the New Orleans Pelicans? I have 5 things that really caught my attention. Number 1, obviously Zion's rookie season. We have not seen someone with this much hype around him going into his rookie year since LeBron. And we obviously know what he is capable of doing. Seeing what he did at Spartanburg, seeing what he did at Duke. Can he implement that type of aggressive physicality into the NBA? Number 2, I really want to see Lonzo's growth and his health get better. His first few years in the league, he only played a total of 99 games, meaning he missed a total of 83 games his first 2 years combined. I want to see if he can remain healthy, and from a growth perspective, did he work on his offensive game? Is he more of an aggressive scorer? Can he play like he did at UCLA, where he was so aggressive, he could create his own shots? He really got a consistent offense flowing around him and around the shooters that he had at UCLA with him. Next, I want to see how is the three-point shooting going to come from this team. We look outside of Zion Williamson, the 4 other starters that were in the league last year, Lonzo Ball, Drew Holiday, Brandon Ingram, and Derek Favors, on their average three-point shooting. So if you get all 4 of their three-point averages from last season and find the average, they shot an average of 30% from 3 last year. That is a huge problem. When you look throughout the rest of the league, many people are in the high 30s. Some people are even close to 40%. This team is just right above 29%. It is very concerning. And judging Zion is not a good three-point shooter himself, that average will probably dip to about 27-28%. Depending on how Zion shoots his first year in the league. So can they get offense? Can they get three-point shooting off the bench from players like Josh Hart, players like Etuan Moore, like JJ Redick? We know those 3 right there are solid three-point shooters, but can they remain consistent? Number 4, I want to see how they do against the rest of the West. The West got even tougher this year. Can they use their play style of fast, aggressive basketball and try and wear out some teams? Because from a skills perspective and from a talent perspective, there are obviously about 10 plus more teams that are better than the New Orleans Pelicans. Finally, at number 5, I want to see who closes for this team. I do not know anyone who is a designated closer for this team yet. Could it be Zion in his rookie year? Could it be Jackson Hayes off the bench? Could it be, I don't think it would be Lonzo. Could it be Brandon Ingram? Could it be Drew Holiday? I think Drew Holiday, in my opinion, is a likely scorer, especially towards the end of the games for this team.
For the New Orleans Pelicans this year, I expect them to be either a 10 or 11 seed in the Western Conference. You look at where they were last year as a 13 seed. I think they can obviously be better than that. And you look at the landscape of the Western Conference, I think there are obviously teams that are definitely on the lower tier of things compared to the New Orleans Pelicans from a team standpoint, from a talent standpoint, possibly from a play style, all of the above. I mean, you look at teams like the Phoenix Suns, the Minnesota Timberwolves, the Oklahoma City Thunder. Who else am I thinking of? Just a few other teams that I looked at and was like, they are definitely better than them, as well as the Memphis Grizzlies. I think they are in the same tier or level as the Sacramento Kings, so I expect those two to go back and forth for the 10 and 11 spots in the Western Conference. But I still think they're a tier lower than the Mavericks, the Spurs, the Blazers, the Warriors, the Jazz, the Lakers, the Rockets, the Clippers. I feel like there's different tiers, especially in the Western Conference, and I think them and the Kings are on the same level right now. Just out of contention to make it into the playoffs, but they're definitely above teams that are automatic lottery bids. So that would do it, y'all. Thank you guys so much for watching. That has been my 2019-2020 New Orleans Pelicans season preview. If you guys have any suggestions that you want for another video, if you guys have any predictions on the Pelicans, make sure to comment them down below. I got Zion winning Rookie of the Year. Make sure to leave a like. Subscribe if you guys are new. Thank you so much for working on. Thank you all. Now stay blessed all of 2019. If you're out there listening, y'all, peace.